Hello. I had a question about the technology guide in our textbook or e-text from page 121. So I wanted to go ahead and look at that with you so that you could see the expectation. Sometimes we get a little bit thrown off by the way the book may present the technology. I will always give you the technology that you need in order to be successful in this class. So one of the things that I wanted you to do, if you're working along with me, go ahead and type in the data that's given on page 121. It's that second column in the technology guide there. So here is our values for T, our domain values, and these are the actual data values for the sales. So the first thing that we want to do is we're going to highlight that data, insert a scatter plot. Once we have our scatter plot, I do like for you to understand what this is. Remember, this is just a graph of the actual T, S of T values, or XY if you like to think about it that way. But the bottom line is these are the points here, 0, 13.5, and so on. They're the actual data points that we're using. So the next thing that we do with our technology is we are going to right-click on any of those points and we're going to add a trend line. When we add a trend line here, if we think about what this looks like, it doesn't look like a linear trend line to me. You could try exponential. It doesn't look exponential. This one is in fact a best fit for a polynomial of order 2 or a quadratic function. At the bottom, click the last two boxes, display equation on chart and display R-squared value on chart. Hit close. Now I know that this is review for most of you if you're coming from 161, but we use this skill over and over, so I just wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity to look at it together quickly. What I want to do next is I want to create a column for predictions. And the predictions, remember, are the values that come from the model. When you look at the graph that you have, these blue markers are your original data points. If you think about what the model is just this equation, our prediction, but we don't know what the actual data points are there associated with that model quite yet. One of the things that I like to do is I like to go ahead, take this equation, and place it in a column for predictions. So I'm going to say is equal to negative 0.2054 times, again, access our T value, which is X squared. There are other ways of doing this. I'm just simply typing it in for those people who are learning this with me this morning as we go through. Okay, so if you look at what I've done, I've typed in negative 0.2054 times x squared plus 2.2125 times x plus 13.268. Once you have that typed in, hit enter and double click those values down. Now notice that those values are not showing up on your graph. And sometimes I think what gets confusing with the technology is that they talk about the actual point markers and then these predicted point markers. You can think about it this way. On this line or curve here, these are the points 0, 13.268. Well, that point is not showing on this yet. This is 0, 13.5. So I think what the technology guide is asking you to do is to simply take and let's make these other markers show up. So the way that you do that is you are going to right-click on the actual trend line. When you do that, you're going to hit Select Data. If you notice, what's happening in this black dialog box right here is that you can see that you're only selecting the data from columns A and B. all you really have to do is go in and backspace over that B and type in C. As soon as you do that, you don't have to worry about switching rows and columns. If you hit OK, immediately you're going to see another color marker show up on your graph. Those are the points for the predictions. These values that I've now right-clicked, those are your prediction values. So one of the things that you could do if you wanted to see your other markers more clearly, how about you increase the size of your graph, then you can see those little blue markers maybe poking out in there a little bit more. And if you try to right-click those, oftentimes you can pull those out some. But I think that was the confusion there. There we go. So this would be you know, the blue markers, those blue ones that are underneath are these values, the actual values. But that's what I think the model in the book is trying to go through and help you understand. But you do have two sets of data that you can display on this graph. One set of data is your actual data, and then those are the ones in blue. Your red data is actually your prediction data. Hope that helps.